and maybe head on down to the casino. My number on roulette would be, it won't be 7 for Bradford. That doesn't seem like it's going to work. But we'll see what Kevin Sheehan, 980 ESPN. What number does he playing in the roulette wheel here at the Tropicana in Atlantic City, where we are? On the Friday edition, Kevin, welcome back for the Outside View.
My pleasure. I don't play roulette, but I would definitely be at a dice table right now if I were there.
I'm more of a craps guy myself, actually, but I'm stuck here doing this show until 6 tonight, so no gambling for me quite yet. I guess we'll kind of segue into that with the gambling theme here. Are they going to try to play this game on Sunday? Any issues going to come, or do you think 1 o'clock Sunday, is that set in stone now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in fact, I don't think the weather is going to be that much of an issue. It might be a little bit rainy, a little bit windy, but that hurricane's, taking an easterly sort of right-hand turn, so we're not going to have that issue. And it's good because changing the venue would cost the Redskins a home game.
Kevin, as Mike was asking you, can you talk a little bit about the Redskins and the importance of having this home game on Sunday?
Well, it's a huge game for the Redskins. Huge on Sunday. The difference in this town between 2-2 and 1-3 is going to seem like a lot more than one game. Their season and the tone of it is really sort of on the brink here because they've had these quarterback, issues going back to training camp. There's going to be an outcry for either Griffin or McCoy to come in if Cousins doesn't play well. There's going to be a sense of sort of impending doom at 1-3 going to Atlanta, and the thought and the feeling of another season down the drain before it ever gets started. So this is for sure a big game, and one that sort of keeps the season competitive and alive if they can win it. If they lose it, it's really going to feel for a lot of people like it's time to move on to something else.
Yeah, and I was kind of saying right before you came on, this will be the third of 4. They play 3 out of 4 at home to start the season off here. And if you're 1-3 in those games, it kind of feels like, you are what you are already. If you can't win games at home, that kind of tells you where this season is going. And you just said, if that's the case and they're 1-3, is it a mess of discussion at the quarterback position down there?
Yeah, it's a mess with regard to a lot of things. I mean, that would lead the messy conversation. But Jay Gruden, that he'd be in play then in terms of at least a conversation. And it would really be sort of unfortunate because the truth is they actually should have won the opener against Mike. They completely dominated, gave up a special teams play and had a ton of penalties that sort of pushed them out of field goal range. And they've played in 3 games, 2 games that they were totally, dominant in and only won one of them. So Sunday's big. Yeah, around here, with as bad as things have gone here the last 2 years, this is, you guys know, this is a football town first and a Redskins town, but there's been a lot of apathy, more than usual here the last 2 years. And if you get a loss in 1-3, people are going to think this season's over.
Yeah, Kevin Sheehan, 980 ESPN, covers the Redskins, Eagles-Redskins. You can listen to the game on 97.3 ESPN. Sam Bradford has been a lot, there's been a lot to be desired at the quarterback position here. When you look at Philadelphia's offense coming in, the Redskins defense has been a strong suit. Is this a good matchup for Washington, the way the Eagles defense has struggled?
Well, it might be. I mean, the Redskins have been able to run the football. The Redskins have been able to convert on third down. The problem is Kirk Cousins thrown a couple of picks, which is what he's prone to do. And on the flip side of that, I think about the Eagles, and I think we've seen every Eagle game with the exception of last week because we saw the opener. It was a Monday night game. We saw the Dallas game. And that one stretch in the third quarter at Atlanta when they were just unstoppable in the third and fourth quarter, I sort of expected that was the Eagle team we were going to get this year, but I know you guys haven't seen a lot of that. From a Redskin perspective, you hope you get a struggling Sam Bradford Sunday.
Kevin, obviously, it seems very unlikely that Deshaun Jackson will play in the game. Is that the number one, the feeling that you're getting as well? And, he impacted the games both times last year. How much of an impact will that be for them not to have him?
It's an impact. I mean, they don't have a lot of explosive players on this team. They've got 2 or 3 players that you would sort of describe as, have to have, and he's one of them. They're pretty deep at that position. They've got some talent there. Pierre Garçon's pretty good. They love this rookie Jamison Crowder. They got a kid, Rashad Ross, who runs a 4.340, and I think you're going to see more of him on Sunday. But they don't have that guy that really threatens it and makes game plans defensively sort of change because he's a field, that's for sure.
Yeah, and obviously the Eagles' offense has been pathetic. I mean, they don't seem to have that guy either since Jackson's been gone. They haven't been able to replace him. And you look at the fact that they brought all this firepower in to run the ball, and they just simply haven't been able to do it. And that's an area where the Redskins defense, Kevin, has been pretty good. They have been stopping the run pretty successfully.
They have done that. They've stopped the run. They're vulnerable in the secondary for sure, but they've stopped the run. And I think Jay Gruden mentioned it the other day. The Eagles, the key is to get them off the field in 3 plays. Once they get a first down and they get into their up-tempo stuff, it becomes more difficult. But the Eagles ran the ball last week against the Bills, and that may be the Redskins' strength defensively. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, and the Eagles' defense has been pretty good. They've been able to, last week specifically, force some turnovers. And, it seems, let me ask you this about Cousins. The game he played in Philly last year, correct me if I'm wrong, he threw for about 430 yards in that game. Is that just a product of, hey, I caught you off guard, you weren't prepared for me? Because he obviously hasn't followed up a performance like that.
It's really an interesting sort of narrative that's come out about Cousins, that he can't do it, that he throws a lot of picks, that he's a journeyman, that he's a backup. The truth is he's played in about 13 meaningful games in his, now in his 4th year. And we've seen moments, not just against Philly last year. He had a game his rookie season against Cleveland where he threw for 350. He had a game against Atlanta in his 2nd year where he threw for nearly 400. Some people, including his former coaching staff, Mike and Kyle Shanahan, believe that he has a future in this league if, the organization that has him will be patient with him. That's not the Redskins' MO here over the last decade plus. They're not patient with much. But I talk to Mike Shanahan every once in a while. He told me recently, he said if he doesn't make it there, he's going to be somewhere in this league 2-3 years down the road playing at a high level. And we've seen moments like that. Yeah, the Philadelphia game last year, at the link was a phenomenal performance, and the kicker missed a 33-yard field goal to tie the game. And without that miss, they would have been in overtime at 37-37.
Well, they definitely look more capable so far defensively. At least they were horrendous on that side of the ball the last couple of years, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I think Washington reminds me a lot of what I saw from the Jets. They got some guys, but the quarterback, it's all on him. If he plays okay, they can win. If the defense keeps them in the game, they're okay. And if the quarterback's asked to do stuff, it hasn't gone his way so far, maybe he's got more potential than Fitzpatrick does, but he killed the Jets last week, and we'll see if the game takes a similar path in Landover this weekend at FedEx Field. Kevin Sheehan, 980 ESPN, with a look at the Redskins as they host the Eagles this Sunday on 97.3. Kevin, it's always a pleasure, pal.
All right, thanks for having me. Have a good weekend.
You got it. The outside view, as always. Kevin Sheehan, 980 ESPN, with a look at the Washington Redskins.